Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey man, anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, and you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Lachlan, play gridiron for Nepean Ducks. I've been playing it for 4 or 5 years now. I play with your brother Jake, play with a few of the mates from around here locally. It's it, man.
How'd you get yourself into gridiron?
So I initially went down to play league at Lower Blue, and I went to a training session, just a pre-season thing, and I ended up rolling my ankle there, and I was like, I'm out for a while, so I didn't really go back. And, I was talking to Dad, I was going to get into a sport. Which sport do I do? And, I didn't really even know about gridiron. And a family friend put us on to a coach at Nepean. And they're like, yeah, we'd love to have him, get him down and have a run. And, I just went down there and I never went back, man. It was just so much fun. Loved it.
What position did you start playing at?
So when I first went down, I was actually looking at playing like corner or safety or something. But as the season, my first year came through, and it was the first year the Colts had ever had a team at Ducks. We didn't have a quarterback. We were sort of just training, and a few guys would just go in there and didn't have it. And it's 15s to 19, so I was like a 15, just turned 15-year-old kid. So I didn't really have that sort of confidence to go and play a position that important. I was like the first contact sport I'd played outside of, I'd played school footy, but that was about it. So I didn't really have that sort of confidence to try and do that. And then we came like 2 or 3 weeks before the season. We still didn't have one. I was driving home with my dad, and he's like, man, just give it a go. What do you got to lose? And I gave it a crack, and week 1 I was starting, and I haven't really done anything else since. So that's just really how it happened. Just got into it.
What's it like playing with Jake over here?
Oh, it's really fun, to be honest. I wish that we played on the same side of the ball, because he plays defense and I play offense. It'd be a lot of fun. He's a good player, and he's a lot of fun to have on the team. He's just a really good guy to have around the team. Makes a lot of tackles. He's just good to have.
You can be honest now.
All right. Now that we're being honest. No, he's a good player, man, and he just works harder than anyone else on that defense. He makes a lot of tackles. Dad loves him. That's why I made him a captain towards the end of the year. He's just good for the boys and good for the team.
Jake, what's it like playing with Bignall?
Oh yeah, he's only a quarterback. He got injured in the grand final, so sort of understand there.
I knew it was coming.
No, he's a big leader. Very good with his run game. He's just, when the game's very tight, you can sort of look to him to break it open, and he'll do something special and just lift the confidence of everyone. It's like, especially for my first season, I faced a lot of problems, and just looking up to him. And we'll be getting in a match, say we're getting we were down against Sydney Cubs. I was playing terrible, and then there was just a few things that you did, and then it just sort of lifted the intensity of the whole team, and then we just came.
Yeah, that was one of the better games I think we had all year, because we came against a team that we sort of hadn't had that that struggle with yet. We really hadn't been pushed the way we did at halftime. Like, we turned up, and I don't know if we thought that we were gonna pump them early or something. I don't know what happened, but we got there, and it was just bad. People turning up late. Cammy turned up. He was a bit out of sorts, and it was 8 all at halftime, and I'd thrown an interception, and we were just heads are down, and then Dad just got us at halftime, and he said, look, this shit isn't on, boys.
Yeah.
I didn't come out here to watch you guys play like pussies, so let's lift. And then 40 to 8,
yeah.
40 to 8. I had a run. Broke a few tackles and got us in. Ben Paul, we had an interception for touchdown length of the field. Cammy had a pick. We didn't miss many tackles. It just lifted the whole team. It was one of the better wins we had all year, and I think we just needed that lift from not only the team but just our coaches that just were like, look, man, we have the players to do this to a team. This isn't good enough. So I think having that push as well was just what we needed. To be honest.
Good, yeah. If Cameron's listening, mate, you can catch that ball.
Yeah, he caught it at Sydney Uni. He needs to do it later in the year too. He needs to take his own advice.
Yeah, I came to a few games. You guys had a pretty decent team. Well, you made the grand final. Was that the first grand final Ducks made?
Yeah, first grand final against across any grades. I think the Outlaws won it back in 2003 or something, but for Ducks that was the first big. I don't even know if we've made a semi-final or anything. The women's made a semi-final the same year last year we did.
Yeah.
And so it was the first grand final. It was a massive occasion for our club to get there, and we had a real shot. Anyone that went to the game saw it was a really, really good close game, and it was just crazy to play in a game like that, have that sort of that pressure and experience. It was a lot of fun for me. It was probably one of my best moments.
Yeah, I reckon you guys would have won it if you didn't get injured, but you can't help that.
Well, a lot of what ifs. UTS got there in the end.
Yeah, they were a good team, but when you came back on the field after you came off, you came back, you scored, was it a touchdown? You got a disallowed touchdown.
Yeah, I had a disallowed touchdown. Yeah, so I after the ankle got rolled, which was my own fault. I I had an option play where I could have handed off to the running back, and I was just in that headspace because we'd had that good drive to open where normally we don't take the ball first, but I told Dad and Darren, I was like, look man, if we win this toss, I'm just going to take the ball and I just want to put it to them straight away, let them know that we're here, we're here to win it. And so we took the ball, we got down, I only took us 5 or 6 plays, and we had it in, and the play that we scored, the guy came at me and there was just a gap that he opened, so I didn't expect it to go all the way. I was just pretty lucky, I reckon, to get that sort of gap, and I took it, and it was just the intent, the whole sideline lifted, everything was crazy. And then for the next drive that we had, the running back Cameron Streeter, he had a fumble first play, and so we recovered it, and then we got the ball again, and I think we got too aggressive. I thought, especially, we just tried to go after him straight away, and I was in that headspace as well. Let's just put the foot on their throat instead of taking time of possession, playing the game, and slowing it down. And we had 3 and out. It's not bad. Position goes back to them. Defense, had another good stop, and then next offensive drive went out there and had an option play, and I was just still in that headspace. I felt like we'd lost momentum by not, scoring that last drive that we got. So I was a bit annoyed at myself because I missed Ryan on a throw, and just by probably a couple feet. I was shitty at myself, and so I was just I'm just gonna get it all back. So I just in my head going up to the line, I was like, I'm keeping this no matter what I see. I'm just gonna try and make a play and lift the team. And so I pulled it. And there were 2 blokes that came for me, and I made one miss, and I tried to spin the other, and ankle just got wrapped underneath, and I was excruciating. I was just the worst feeling in the moment because I was trying to do something so good, and it just went awfully wrong, and I just kind of felt in my heart, I was like, wow, I hope I haven't done anything to cost us this final by just having a selfish play like that. And it was a bit, I learned a lot from just that specific play. Even if you are looked up to and you're trying to make that sort of play, you don't just force it. Otherwise, you can turn so wrong, and then you just...
Yeah, change the game because you had Pricey come in for QB for a few downs.
Yeah, you got a few deep throws in.
Yeah, there was just little errors after it, like Jack Crouch, Ryan Mulvaney's little block.
Oh yeah, block punt. That was devastating straight off the...
That was devastating. Yeah. Cameron Lever getting knocked out.
Yeah, true. We had our second quarter definitely wasn't our quarter. I think we played a really good game other than the second quarter. You just look at the things that happened in the second quarter. I got injured. Cameron dropped that interception. Ryan's punt got blocked.
Yeah, it was just little stuff that. Our corners getting beat deep.
Yep.
Never get beat.
It's crazy how one play can just change
just change it, man. And for the whole game, and then I'm over on the sideline in the medical tent, so I haven't seen anything.
I wasn't expecting you to come back on.
No, neither was I. I told Dad when he ran on the field, I was like, man, I'm done. The pain that I felt, it was just so awful. It was after the game, my ankle was just swollen up like crazy. But I was sitting in the medical tent with Jack O'Donnell and
Graham Wallace.
Yeah, Graham Wallace and Paul Withers, and they were just like, oh, can we get this guy back on? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, if I can go back on, I got to get on. But I was still unsure, and they ripped the old tape because I had my ankle taped up already. They had to rip it off and took my boot off, and then they taped it all up, and they said, look man, you can go on if you can. And I just was like, yeah, well look, I'm only going to play in this final once. I'm not going to leave anything up to chance. I'm going to I'm just going to give my team a chance. And so it was a timeout, and I just jogged across the field, and it was probably the most memorable moment for me was just getting that cheer from the crowd coming back. It's better than any experience I've ever had.
You're on one leg as well.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know if I was making the right decision at the time for my team because I didn't know if I could play properly. But I thought, look, man, if I go out there, there's only a minute left in the game, a minute left in the half. Sorry, if they don't need me, they'll tell me at half, look, man, you're not good enough. We'll put someone else in. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just give it a go. So ran out there, I made a big completion of Ryan. But yeah, it was just you take for granted how valuable just being fully healthy is, and then you're just out there. Half of my game is just being able to move and run, and then just having to stand there and trust my offensive lineman just to give me enough time. And thankfully enough, I've got a really good offensive line that buy me enough time. And then we didn't get any points before the half. I thought we could have, but then it was a bit I don't know. It was a bit of a strange feeling because I didn't expect to be going back on, so I wasn't down on spirits. I was just kind of annoyed at myself that I would put myself in that situation. I had to get carried off, and I had some pretty strong painkillers at halftime, and I felt fantastic. I don't know what it was. It was fantastic. I didn't feel anything. I just felt like there was no pain, but I looked like an injured animal running, but I didn't feel any pain. and I went back on and I played an all right second half.
Yeah,
and
you came home strong.
Yeah, 28-24. So it was really close. We got the last score, but it just wasn't enough. We had a few chances even in that half, just a few silly errors, blocks in the back.
Yeah, if you weren't disallowed that touchdown, you guys would have won.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. Even like here in defense, like Raz just over trusting players, and then it was just like they'll get that little block, make the extra.
Yeah, or like on that, like a big play, they had like it was like 4th down and 21, and they're only up like 18 to whatever it was, 18.
And they threw long.
They threw long, and it was like 4th and 21 or whatever it was, and they got like 22 yards just to get that conversion, and then they score. So if all we have to do is knock that ball out. Like it was with defensive line got instant pressure. We're in his face, and he just throws it up and just gets it's a very lucky completion. But you take those. I wouldn't be sitting here saying it was lucky. If I was the one on the receiving end, I'd say it was all skill. So it's really perspective. But look, it's always that in footy, and I hate saying if this happened, if that happened, because at the end of the day, this did happen. So all we can do is move forward, and say, look, man, they won. And at the end of the day, they deserved it. They played better. They got more points than us. But next year we just got to go and not leave it up to chance like we did this year, and not give them a chance. That's all we can do.
What was the biggest thing you took out of this season?
I think just confidence mainly. Like before, in previous years, it was okay. Like I don't know. I just really didn't have that confidence to trust myself. Like throwing deep air. Like I didn't throw a lot of interceptions, but I also didn't throw a lot of touchdowns. I just didn't really take risks. And I think having my mates play like Jake, Crouchy, Ryan, and Cameron, have Mitch Hawes, just having them on the team, it just helped a lot. It just felt like I was just going to play park footy with my mates, and so it became more fun for me, and I was more relaxed. And when I'm more relaxed, I think. Me and Dad did the stats from like the year before Jake started playing. So 2017, my stats would have been something in the area of like 12 passing touchdowns or something like that. But then this year I had 27.
Sure.
So like I went from like my first year I might have had 6, and then I had maybe 8 the next year, and then I had 12, and then I just had this breakout year to like 27. And I had like 6 or 7 rushing touchdowns, and I had that like in my second year or something like that. And it was a good year for me. It was the best year I've had statistically, and probably mentally as well. Just getting into it. And my dad coming down and coaching really helped that. He put a lot of effort that a lot of people would not notice and not see. But anyone who knows my dad and knows how much he does care about that team knows how much effort he did put in.
Yeah, he put heaps into me, like sessions of just legitimately me sitting on the side and him just explaining basic, like rushing, how to do that, how to defend properly, just all that.
Yeah, his care factor was like really high, and I think that's really what drove us. We had coaches before, and they didn't, they were good, they were nice guys, but they just didn't really push us, or like, I don't know, just didn't.
They didn't relate. We're like, even like in Australia camp, like you have coaches, but they don't have that personal relationship. Like they'll just say, "Oh, do this," and they all expect you to have the same knowledge. But like our team was full of league boys. Yep. So like you really built us and like related.
And I think that's what my dad's thing was. He's like, I don't want to be the best gridiron team. I've got these team of athletes. I want to play to their strengths, and I want to make the game as comfortable for them as possible, because I want to change what they do good, because they're good league players. I don't want to change that. I'll give them a structure so that they can thrive in a system and play like league boys. Just make one-on-one tackles. Just don't miss in defense. Like my dad, Dad always said, like someone would ask him, like, what scheme do you run? He's like, man, there's a fucking thing, guy's holding it, it's brown, go fucking get it. You know, like that's as simple as it is. The guy has a football, you've got to stop him from progressing the football down the field. That is it.
Yeah, like in training, honestly, that's all we did.
Yeah, stop the guy with the ball, that's it.
Yeah, our defense scheme was very simplistic compared to everyone else. Like, I've spoken to a few of the UTS boys, and like, even when I was up at Australia camp, like how they run the defensive schemes and just all that. So complex compared to what we did. And I don't know, I enjoyed gridiron heaps because it was just with mates, and like it wasn't just all the mates in offense, it was like me and Lever in defense, and then Mitch would come over to D, or sometimes you'd come to D. Yeah. It was just
we just had a good team. It was just a lot of fun to play on, and even like you take away the grand final, like like we only lost our first game, and we all know that was a bit questionable. But we only lost that. We lost to UTS in the middle of the season as well. But other than that, man, we just had fun. Really, like we turned up to games. It was a really chill vibe. We just
but we're shit talking not the other team, but more our mates.
Exactly.
Because you'd be in the sideline, you'd shit talk me if I missed something.
Yep.
Or I'd shit talk you if you
missed a throw. Yeah, for sure.
Just all that little stuff.
And that's what you want, man. Because then when you're comfortable enough to do that to your own team, then you just it just feels comfortable when you go out and play, you know.
Yeah, like the hype up when like Mulvaney's yelling on the side or Mitchie's yelling from the sideline, and it's like leaving.
Just that expectation and you know holding you account for your whatever you're doing, you know, like you just know that not only you let your team down, but your mates are gonna give it to you later.
Yeah,
so you just
because we drive together. Like in league, I'm a very serious person before a game, but like coming to gridiron, we're just with all the mates in the car, we're just talking, having fun. Like we'd warm up, like we'd get in that serious mindset, but we'd still talk shit to each other. And then once we got onto the field, like once the whistle went.
100% locked in, focused. And then after the game, you know, we still all hung out as mates after. So it was like a whole day for us, you know. We'd, you know, go to the games, just be at the game, play the game, then we'd, you know, meet up someone's house. Like it was a whole day for us. It was just something that we looked forward to. It was something that we enjoyed. Yeah,
one of my best experiences on the field, like with Weaver. Like you'd miss a tackle or something, and I'd legitimately talk so much shit to him in his ear, and like he'd just laugh. And it was just like.
It's just what you do.
Like when would you do that in like any other sport?
Yeah, especially league. Yeah.
Where we're getting beat, and you can talk shit to your own players, and you still come back and you win. Because like you sort of just talk shit, you get over it, and get it done.
It's a different, because like with gridiron, it's just one play at a time. So if you make a mistake, whereas like obviously I haven't played league at the level you boys have or really at all. So like if you miss that tackle, it's a lot. Like if you miss a tackle, it's sort of like a line break. That's a massive thing. You miss a tackle in gridiron, you got a lot of team. Like it's a different play. It's like, okay, shake that off. New play. Let's attack it differently. You know, let's do it better.
Even in like league, say if you get beat and they score, like when you get into that huddle, it's sort of like you're a fucking idiot. Like I can't believe you've done that. Where in gridiron, like I've made mistakes where I've taken the wrong gap and the running back's just going around, and then it's just, you know what, it's like shit happens and you just keep it going. So that's why we went so good. That's why we're just good mates. Like look at training after it.
Yeah, exactly.
We fucked each other up. Like,
yeah,
times I get fucked up in my huddle and everything.
Yeah, I remember I pumped you one time. Got you blindside block.
You blindsided me.
I didn't even know him that well at the time. I just saw him and I was like, I mean, you know, I'll just do it.
My first few sessions against the Ben Paul when he's in quarterback.
And you pumped him. Yeah, that was definitely not deserved at all. But
it was good fun.
So what's it like having your dad as your coach?
It's you know, it means a lot to me. You know, even if I don't say it all the time. I see, because you know I'm at home all the time with him. Even before I see how much he cares about the team, and I don't even. It might be biased, but I think that some of the boys would agree with me that it's. I don't think, like, I can't speak for your other coaches, but I just don't know if they had that relationship with the coach where it was so personable, where you could have a laugh with him, but if he asked you, you know, like held you responsible for your acts, like you made a mistake, you genuinely felt like I've got to make it up to him. And like during the week, he'd be at work, but he'd be, you know, texting players. You know, you come into training, you know, like he had that. Dad's thing was he doesn't want to get to know the football player. He wants to get to know the person.
Yeah, build a culture.
Build a culture of like he said that he could go through his list of players and he could tell you, you know, all their names, like just without looking at it, what they do outside of school or outside of football, like what are their hobbies, you know, where do they like to hang out. Like he just wanted to have that sort of mate mentality, so that when you needed him, he was just kind of like, it was easy to talk to. So if you ever needed to ask any questions or whatever, but he didn't get that just by being who he is. He put a lot of work into that. So like at work, he'd just be messaging people, come to training, come to games. What do you need? Do I need to bring you, you know, a spare pair of lowers? Do you need a helmet?
Yeah, do you need a lift?
Do you need a lift? Yeah, we a lot of times we would go and you'd pick boys up and make sure we were there, or organise that they could be there. And I saw more than anyone that how frustrating that was for him. Like, because he says he hates messaging people because, like, he says, you know, you see it on your phone but you don't respond, but it's like he's just man, just respond to me. I'm trying to help you, you know. And at training, he sort of, as someone who's played the whole Ducks Colts, and it's been a lot of fun, I feel like he's sort of now created a culture and like turned the culture around in 1 year, where it's like we sort of went from a really below average team to like an okay team, and then this year he's just turned it around and just gone, these guys are competitors and this is what I've done. And he's done it with next to no gridiron experience. Like, he'd never played gridiron. He'd never played it before in his life. He'd only ever he always watched all my games and that was it. And he stepped in because, I asked him to, and he was always around the club. I was like, look, man, you don't have to know a lot. We just need sort of like a leader to help us. And he put a lot of effort in to learning and playing to his strengths of just being, simple. I'll coach the man, not the player. And I'll just get him 10% better by the end of the season, because if I add up all those 10% of players, I've got a massively better team than what I started, because that's what he reckons the job of a coach is. You got to make your player better. It's not about my wins or whatever, but I'm there to make someone better. So he put a lot of effort in, and obviously he had his favourites with my mates, and I'm pretty sure they know that as well. But he'd always have a laugh with them, and he had a lot of time for him. But I think that helped him as well as a coach, just having guys that been around my house, or just I'd grown up with, just going to school with and whatever, and just having them there just sort of made it a bit easier for him. But I can't say enough about my dad. Honestly, he's just
I wouldn't even go to the Australian camp without him, or like even little things, like even going to training. Like, he made me want to get to training and not doing wrong, and like he was good. Like, he'd jump in at training as well.
Yeah, just have a go.
He'd have no pads on him till he hit like us, and he was just good. Like, he got in there and he was just a good coach, and like he was a good mate as well. Because like I could speak to him about anything, and like
even not just football. Like, if you just had a problem.
Yeah, he helped me with heaps. And my gridiron is just because we just had that good relationship with him, and he's just
for sure.
Good. Like, he made me enjoy gridiron. Because like personally, I was like, because the year before, when it was this Mulvaney and they started playing, I was like, I might play. But then I was like, I'll come down for one sesh. I don't know why I came down for gridiron. I think the boys just conned me in. And it was just after that, one day with Greg, and then I just was stuck.
Love at first sight.
Yeah, I'm stuck to play again.
Yeah, now you got to play again this year. He's hooked you.
I don't know.
Is it Colts again this year, or are you guys going to play Opens as well?
I'm only going to play Colts, because I mean, the way I look, like, I think personally for me it'd be a lot of fun. But I mean, while you can play Colts, why would you play Opens unless you're needed? When you're 22, 23, you can't play Colts again. So especially me playing quarterback, if I went up to seniors and got hurt, like, it's hard, especially in juniors, to have that backup quarterback, and it's a lot to risk playing men's. And
it's a different environment in gridiron, because like you can go somewhere in gridiron, but you sort of, if you just want to go play for fun, you don't really want to be playing up against men. Because it's a totally different game. Like, playing with Colts with your mates is a lot more.
100%, especially for you, and even Nick playing Opens rugby league, not most of your life, but most of your adult life, where like you go from, I don't know what the age, like 17, 18s, and then you're just playing Opens, right?
Yeah, well, I've been playing Opens since I was 18 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I've versed 17-year-olds 1 year, and versed like 25-year-olds.
Exactly, but with gridiron, I think it's a lot different, because in league, it's just everyone's sort of straight, like looking straight at you, so you can get good at that sort of tackling. Whereas in gridiron, it's so much like the shoulder charge isn't illegal, and you can get hit from all sorts of angles and stuff like that. Like, it is a lot more risky, I think, personally.
Different game. You right there?
Yeah, the camera just died. It's alright.
Do we keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, gridiron chat.
Yeah, gridiron chat. No, but it was a lot of fun, and I think having Jake down there, especially, like, you look at all the boys that came down, my mates, I didn't expect them to. It would have. I knew, and I was talking to Dad when I first started, like, sort of doing small sessions with Jake and even Toby and Crouchy, and I was like to Dad, I went home after going to summer haze with these boys. I was like, man, if we get these boys, we got a shot here. Like, honestly, if we can get these boys to come to training and commit to us, our team is going to get so much better if we can just get these boys to be on our team, because they are really good players. And Dad's like, man, we just get them to training and we'll try and get them stuck. And we got them to training, and it was one guy committed, and then I was like, oh well, if he's going to play, I mean, I may as well play.
It's a crazy mix, yeah. If it's sort of like, it sounds like sad, but if one of us sort of pulled out, it changed everything. Because like, say if Mulvaney didn't go, and then Levi probably would have been, Mitchie wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
And then like, I could have probably still got Toby to come down, but it still wouldn't have been the same.
It wouldn't have been the same, and it was good that we got, I know the only one we're missing was Izo, but that's alright.
Yeah, he's shit anyway.
He's shit anyway. He wouldn't have started, so it was probably better for the team.
Yeah.
But no, it was good that you all made a commitment, and it was good that you were all able to start. Like, you look at you, just like, it was, for me personally, there was no call. Like, when Jake and Cameron turned up and they played defense. It was like those are the guys right there. They're the guys that they're gonna lead that defense. And look at Ryan. Like obviously we all know how good Ryan is at what he does. And you're just like, wow, that's our receiver. And you got Crouchy, who like if he wasn't so injury prone, could have been super dynamic.
Yeah.
If he would have been so like he's fast, great hands. And then I think the biggest what if would be Toby. Like so he had that one game against Wollongong out at Neptune, and he had like this one drive, and we were like, it was super windy, and we just like handed off to Toby. It was just 8 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, and he just went 80 yards the whole. Like I didn't have to throw the ball once. He took the ball the whole way. Like we had some depth at running back when he got hurt, but Toby was like when he was in there, he was just different, and it's a shame to see him to get hurt because he would have been. Just another really good different weapon for our offense.
How rare is it, like, even taking off gridiron, like in a friendship group, to have Toby to come out and play gridiron?
Yeah.
Like he played union, but like he retired from footy a long time ago.
Yeah, and I didn't know Toby that well. I remember the first time I sort of met Toby, I thought he was the scariest dude I've ever seen in my life. I was like, look at that. Fuck, he's like 16, 17 years old. He's got a beard thicker than my dad, smoking a massive cigar. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's the... And then I heard him talk and I was like, yeah, okay, he's not too scary.
Yeah, but like it brought...
Tough footy player though.
Yeah, but it brought us heaps together. Like, I was always mates with like Mitchie, Lever and all that.
Yeah.
But like, I got a lot more closer to Mitchie. Like gridiron, I got closer to you. Like, I'd see you out here and there, but like...
Yeah, parties and stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
Like, you had your own little friendship group and it's sort of friendships like forever. It's like we can be like 20, 30, 40 and just like look back. We're still
mates from that. Yeah, we still all hang out now.
Yeah, with like good Lever. Remember when you dropped it in the grand final?
Yeah, remember when I threw the game? Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we got all those memories. Crouchy's blocking,
Oh my God.
So talk us through your representative. When was the first time you made one?
I made one. It's because when I was 15, I went to state trials and I was playing quarterback and I didn't make that. I was 16. I went to the same outback camp that Jake went to. I didn't make that either. I was 16, and then I had the 17. I was 17, and then trials for the next Wolverines camp were that January, and that's pretty much. I reckon I credit that to a lot of what changed me as well as my confidence. I went down and, I just felt good. I'd come off like a better season. It wasn't as good as the last one I had, but I'd come off my best season yet. And I was talking to Dad and I was like, look, I'm going to go for quarterback. And I felt that I was one of the best quarterbacks to go there. And, I just wasn't as good fundamentally and as technically, but I thought I was still better. And, I remember Glenn Bowers, who's our seniors coach. He was the head coach of Wolfpack. Whatever it is, Wolverines. And I was practicing at quarterback, and I wasn't training as good as I thought I would, so it was a bit of a cut down for me. Like, okay, you're not as good as you think you are, sit down. And I remember I was at a party, and Glenn, he's like, oh, can I ring you? And I was like, yeah, man, sure. I was a bit like, oh God, is he gonna cut me? Is that what's going on? And so I went out to my car and he's like, look, man, you're sitting at about third on the depth chart for quarterbacks. It is what it is. We're only looking at taking 2. You're probably fringe second or third. So, if you want to stay at quarterback, you can stay at quarterback and try and win it out there. But the defensive coordinator, Mitch Wallen, has come and he said, hey, we're really short on linebackers. Can I take him and give him a crack? And so I said, I want to ring you first before I did anything. And I said... to Glenn, I was like, look, man, whatever gives me a chance to start and play in this team, I'll do. So if you don't think I can make it at quarterback here, then I'll go and play defense and I'll give it a crack if you think that's what's better for me. And so, yeah, we agreed. Like, okay, that's what we'll do. That's what's better for me. That's what I got a better shot at. So I went and I'd sort of knew Mitch a little bit. I'd seen him around the league, hadn't had much to do with him. And then I went to training. I was pretty nervous. I'd never played defense really in my life. I'd gone on and played safety like 4 times before that. Like, it's not really anything special. And, so I was heaps nervous. And he's like, all right, we're going to play you at Rover. So outside linebacker. And, I wasn't in the starting rotation when I went there. I was sort of playing like backup linebacker, safety sort of thing. I wasn't really... I was probably higher up on the depth chart there than I was at quarterback because I was just so thin in numbers. And, yeah, I was just like, wow, this is the learning curve. Like, I got the playbook and we did like once a week Zoom classes and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I don't have the defensive experience that these boys have. Like, I haven't been tackling, my whole gridiron career. I haven't been doing whatever. So I'll just good and know the playbook inside. Like, I'm just going to make it no one's going to know the playbook better than me. Like, if anyone has any, I'm just going to know it. And
that's half of defense, honestly, is just being in that position. But you think about it as a quarterback, when you look, you see a person in that spot, you just disregard it. You're not going to throw it and try and put that pressure. If you can't tackle, like, that's overlooked.
I think that's what helped me a lot going to defense, playing quarterback, and sort of having a basic understanding of how defenses worked. And I sort of got not picked on, but they were like, "Oh, come draw this play up on the board, on a whiteboard," and I was like, "Oh, well, all right, I know it." And I drew it up, and I think the coaches were pretty impressed. Like, this kid who's only been here two sessions has just drawn our play up perfectly, and he's told us how we relate to all these receivers if they run that. And so I started working my way in. I started starting it outside a bit more regularly, and I was like, all right, well, they like that. I've got to keep doing it. So I kept working, and then we had a few injuries, and I sort of had to go at safety, and I was sort of starting in there, and I was like, all right, well, I'm starting now. I'm progressively in that starting side, and then we had another injury at middle linebacker, which is like what you played. And they were like, "Oh, Lockie, can you do it?" And I was like, "Yo, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. I'm happy to do it." So I went in there and I did it, and I didn't not start from then on. I was like, "Oh, sweet, I've cemented myself." Gone from not making the team, I'm in the starting spot, and then it was the 2 weeks before camp, and we had our end of thing huddle, and they did the captains, and I was just sitting there, and they announced like Jacob Edwards and Liam Brown for offensive captain. I was sitting there, I didn't expect it at all. I was just sitting there, like I'd been there. I'd missed a month from defense, so I didn't think I had that lead. Like, no one knew who I was really, because all these guys had played against me at club level. And then, Mitch Warner announced that I was the A captain with Damon at defense, and it was honestly one of the most humbling things, because I did not, and it was something that I worked for. It wasn't something that I was given, so I felt that real sense of that I'd earned it. And that was one of the best moments for me. Like, because it was just completely surprised, wasn't expecting it at all. There were guys there that had played longer than me, and I thought were better than me, and so it was really good to have a coach like Mitch, put his trust in me and say, "Look, man, I trust you and Damon to lead this team." And we got into camp, and I was nervous, but I just had that confidence that, like, okay, he trusts me, and I wasn't really sure, so I had that confidence that I was just gonna go in there and help boys out. And I think my strength, it wasn't my tackling, it was just understanding what we had to do. It was like a man managing sort of thing. Okay, look, they're coming out in trips, we got to move this way, and we're going to roll that way, and that's what we got to do. And I knew the playbook, so I was like, oh, Denzel, we got to move over, you're in the one gap or whatever. I'm like, so I think that was more of my role there. And camp was crazy for me. It was one of the best weeks I've ever had, honestly.
It's been good, even Mulvaney there. Like, I don't know if you spent too much time with him.
He was in D. He was like the only offensive player in a D, because they took 21 offensive guys and 19 defensive guys. So there was one guy that had to be in the defensive room, and that was him. And so I got to hang out with him a lot, and it was just a lot of fun, because Ryan's that sort of guy. He seems like he doesn't care about a lot. And so he's just a good guy to talk to. Me, Ryan and Fairfield, we just...
Yeah, it just would have been good fun.
Oh, it's just a lot of fun. And when we came to game days, it was a different vibe. And I felt like... Because in gridiron, you get guys that they come down, they play Madden or whatever, and it's not their number one sport, but when I was playing state, I felt like I was in a team where everyone cared, and that was something different. And it was a lot of... to put on the New South Wales uniform was... crazy. It's something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
You got none of those rapid boys,
Yeah, true.
But yeah, still it was good. Like, sounds good, and like, even if I was there, it would have been good.
It would have been a lot, and I think you would have learned a lot from it too. It's a shame you didn't get in it the year before. I can't say. I would say you probably would have made it just going on athleticism, but I can't say that for sure. But it would have been definitely good just to get you around and in that sort of environment earlier, because then you wouldn't have had that.
Yeah, well, I got thrown into the Australian camp was just completely just chaos. Like, I'm not used to doing the film sessions, doing all that, study sessions in the morning, like waking up for 5 a.m. To go train, come back for brekkie, to go train, to lunch.
Oh, it's definitely a harsh environment where they're trying to break people to.
Yeah, it was good though. Like, it was a good mental test. The only thing that held me back, I feel like the coaches probably have a different perspective, but athletically and mentally, I feel like I was probably one of the better defensive players there, but they just knew the playbook way better than me.
Yeah, I think it was just that experience in gridiron and being able to look at like a play that they'd drawn up and just understand it straight away, which I think personally for me, like that, like you can learn that. Like if you turned up and you were just a really athletic kid and you see like just a play and you don't get it, well, you can learn. That's something you can work on and study, but you can't really. In a week, you can't really change the guy's speed, his strength, his tackling technique. So that's just my opinion.
So they just stood out a lot more because they just knew what positions to be at. Because I was sort of like that person had the ball, I hit him. But when you get to that level,
you can't really apply what we're doing at Ducks.
It's not sort of like you get that ball. It's sort of you got to be in that position.
Yeah, in an area.
That was my biggest flaw.
It's a very technical game when you look at it.
Especially when you come from league.
Yeah, like some of the playbook stuff I have still, it's just...
Yeah, you showed me some of those. I was like, what the hell? How do you memorise all this shit?
Just practice, I promise. It's possible.
It's just getting all that information shoved down my throat. For like, I'm coming from someone with no real experience, no gridiron really experience. Like I played a season, but totally different, like intensity, just totally different knowledge, and then just getting thrown in with all these numbers, like okay, if you see that 33 and like all that.
It's definitely a learning curve, and I think at state I was lucky that I had a bit of, like I'd played gridiron before, so I had basic knowledge, and then I could then apply myself to learn stuff that I sort of already kind of knew about, so it was easier than coming from where you were, where you didn't really have that
but you had
that base.
The year before.
So
you've already been thrown on that defense.
And I was a bit younger, so
yeah, you've been exposed to it.
So I sort of knew what was to be expected in a representative environment. But our state was a lot more chill compared to Outback, I thought. On defence, I don't know anyone that played with me on defence, or even Yas Mulvania. We know defence worked really hard to get. I think defence went from, like, let's just say we started at 60, we got to 90. Like by the end of the camp, we worked really hard to get to where we were, and that was thanks to Aaron and Mitch Wallner, who just put that pressure on us to learn and get better, which is kind of what you need to do in a representative environment.
Yeah, but there's a good mix. Like even Bowsy.
For sure.
Like straight up, like you can't talk to him.
He's just so personable. You can just talk to him about anything.
Yeah,
and that's
even Outback, like he was helping me, and he was an offensive
coach.
And he's just someone who you can approach. So he sort of takes off the edge of the complete seriousness, and he doesn't destroy.
It kind of makes it a bit more chill.
Yeah.
So it's just easier and more comfortable.
It's a good balance, and that's what really helps me as well. And that's why this season, if I do ever play it in the men's, because he sort of asked me if I'm wanting to play in the men's. And
he's a hard man to say no to, isn't he? He's too nice. He's too nice to turn down.
That's it.
Yeah, I didn't think those camps would be so serious since gridiron's not really
massive.
big.
And I feel like, that's not one of its flaws because they get in and it's so serious.
Is it because the coaches are they American or?
At Outback, I think two were maybe when I went personally.
Yeah, we had a fair few more. We had a lot more defensive American coaches.
And they're very over the top.
Compared to what you guys would be used to.
Coach Callaway, Stuart York.
I don't. He probably was, but remember I was a quarterback. Yeah. But I think he was a coach at Victorian for Victoria.
He was American or whatever. And
okay.
It was just.
I feel like it's a different environment, like I've heard from Bowsy as well. Like that camp is designed to break people, so they can select. It's just to cull people so they can select a team, and apparently they do get a lot more chilled and more personable. But for the purposes of that camp, they take 100 kids and they got to get down to 50. So what's the quickest way to do it? Okay, get the ones that can't take.
Our recovery sessions were heaps good. Like it was very personal. But when you're at 5 a.m. session, if you're late, you're getting ripped if you want. And the biggest thing was teamwork, where I feel like in the first few days and like the early sessions, people going 100% were doing it personal.
Yeah.
So then we just got yelled at, we just got penalties, and it was just...
It's a good experience though, and I think it's good to get exposed to that sort of environment, because then when you come back down to club level, you've just, even though I didn't make it from Outback, I think I came back and I just retained knowledge I didn't think I would, or more confidence that I'd been picked to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's going to be easy for me just to read it, like if I do move into that safety role. Hopefully going to go to offense, to be honest. Looking for a tight end position, but...
Call him out.
Yeah,
So what's the point of these camps? Are they trying to scout people to go to America, or...?
I think they're... to be honest, I think they're there just to pick a team that will represent Australia. And then I think the culture in gridiron here is that, people themselves want to go pro, want to go America, but I'm from the standpoint, like I think it would be a fun experience, but I don't think I would be good enough to go. Like, you think about guys over there, like, there's 50 states in America.
And they train from when they're like
From
5
then
years
they're
old.
5 years old, and they've been put through systems their whole life. High school is just football, and if you're good enough, you go to college, and then if you're good enough, then you go pros. But then there's other leagues.
It was saying that they've had players. They have so many players. So even why would they pick this little Australian that hasn't gone through the same training, like they're training?
Yeah, because they can just take someone who's already been through 1 to 80.
Yeah, and they've been through the system, so they know what's going on. Like we go through one Australian camp, biannually every 2 years you go to Australian camp.
Yep.
And then that's probably that's 4 days out of someone's whole life over there in America who's experienced that, the film sessions.
Yeah, because in America, I think at high schools and stuff, you'll do practice before school, and then you'll do practice after school, and then they'll play on it. You look over there, on a Friday night, you got a high school game, town shut down.
Yeah, they get bigger crowds than NRL.
Yeah, town shuts down. They high schools have stadiums where people just fill it. That's the thing. Tonight, let's not go to the movies. Let's run down to the high school and we'll just watch the football. We'll watch the year 10 football or whatever it is over there, the juniors.
Yeah,
and it's just
they're athletes as well over there. Way better.
That just comes down to their training.
Look, they're all shredded, and then look at us.
That's down to their training. Where you look at half the athletes in gridiron, but half of them don't train. You look at half of our team, GNSW. Even in our boys. And half of them we go to
don't gym,
and the other half legitimately just show up on the weekend and play.
Yeah.
And that's okay too if you're playing amateurs, but in America it's football especially has that culture.
Very serious over there.
Yeah, very serious culture, and I think it'd be like imagine how much of an idiot you'd think someone was if an American came over here at 18 years old and said, "I'm going to go play Penrith Juniors." You'd be like, "Okay, good luck, champ." You know,
pretty much, yeah.
You don't have okay, you're a freak athlete, you're fast and you're strong, but you don't know how to pass the football left to right and right to left. You don't know how to tackle in a line. And because the game is so different in gridiron, it's start, stop. So you get, it's more explosive. It feels like it feels like you're playing the first 20 minutes of, the 20 to 40 minute mark the whole game. You're sort of not gassed, but you're not fresh.
Yeah, but you have a lot more time to think too.
Yeah.
Where in league, you got that. You're under fatigue and split-second decisions make or break. Where in that gridiron, you miss that tackle. You can get your head. You actually got to
get in your headspace, think about it, and you'll be okay. And
you go timeout. When are you going to go timeout in league?
When they score a try, It's not. And then if they came over here and Americans tried to play league, I'm not saying they wouldn't be good, but especially over there, they in football specifically, where they have that different sort of exercise over there where it's just start, stop. Yeah. I don't know how long they'd last playing rugby league. They might last 20 minutes because they don't have that
aerobic capacity.
Yeah, they don't have that sort of drive to oh my god, I'm fatigued. How do I? They're waiting for the next time out.
Mental thing, they'll know the playbook, but that mental game keep going.
That's why so many league players, when they try to go to the NFL, they don't make it because it's so technical.
And I think people talk down to what Jared Hayne and Valentine Holmes did. I get that they weren't superstars, but that's a very, very hard thing to do what they, especially Hayne when he first went. Just to make a team is just unbelievably hard.
Yeah, NFL, you've had people going through 19 years of hardcore training, and he's played rugby league. Yeah. And you think
there's 32 teams in the NFL, and then you look at, I don't know how many Division 1 colleges there are. Let's say there's 20. And so there's 20 guys in Division 1 that can possibly be drafted to play the position that Jared Hayne was playing, ready to go. And then you think about in the league already.
Yeah, and then you got your first string, second string.
Yeah, and then and
practice squads. You got all that, and you got everyone coming.
And it's a different game, and I don't people look at it. Yeah, he dropped a couple of footballs. Yeah, but I mean, it's a different football.
It'd be hard, especially with the helmet and all that.
Oh, the helmet and the ball is designed to torpedo. That's all they do.
We'll see after this when we go to the field.
Yeah, I'm going to put a helmet on and try and catch stuff.
We're going to put a helmet on him because he says, "Oh yeah, I'll be good."
No chance. Especially if it's your first time. The first time you put a helmet on, you'll feel like you're a bobblehead.
Yeah. So you put the helmet on, then the pads are totally different.
Yeah, it's you'll be able to get them to here. I reckon.
You can be the best athlete, but with helmet and learning the game,
you can be a really good athlete, but you've also got to have a work ethic, and I think that's what really changes players. Especially on Ducks, you look at the guys that really apply themselves to get better, and that makes the difference. And it's not really a coincidence that all of our mates, our mates group, it was just they were the leaders, because we all had that work ethic. We don't like losing, we're really competitive amongst ourselves as well as on the field.
You
So
gave each other that shit.
that
like,
competitiveness.
It's sort of like you lost a game. Like how much shit do you get about the grand final?
All the time, I would expect nothing less of you. Like it's, I understand it, and it's all a joke at the end of the day. But it sort of holds you accountable because not only is it it's letting your mates down as well, and you don't want to do that, and that's why.
Like that car drive home, you're not gonna be like, oh fuck, I was just a lazy dog.
That's what my dad always says. It's at the end of the day when you put your head on your pillow, you know what you did. You know if you did good or bad, no matter how much shit you talked, no matter how good you think you are. When you put your head down on the pillow, everyone's by themselves. You know how good you are. So if you know you didn't give 100%, but everyone thinks you did, you know when you go to sleep, I didn't give 100%, and that's what you can't live with. You can't live with knowing you could have given more and you didn't, because you're just beating yourself really, and it's no good lying because. Like at the end of the day, it's all about you get called out exactly, and it's all you can't lie, man. Everyone, especially on our team where everyone is mates, like everyone sees it. We all care. Like to be honest, like I'd watch defense when I was in like earlier years, but I didn't care. Like because now you and Cameron were playing, like I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see how you were going. So it was kind of like it was a whole 60-minute experience or whatever quarters we play. It was a whole thing, you know. Like I'd be watching the game all the time, and it was
so much more immersed into it.
Yeah, 100% agree. And like at halftime, you know, we were still all mates, but we were just like, come on, man, you missed that tackle. We can't do that, boys. We got to pick it up. That's not good enough.
Yeah, like we've all got the shit. Like I've had it at halftime, and I fucking hate gridiron. I legitimately played the fucking shit. It was going to Sydney Uni. I legitimately was at halftime because every week before that I was getting 3 sacks a game or whatever. And I just went to shit. I hate gridiron. And then my main part is like, just don't like take it too seriously. Just go out there, enjoy it, do it for your mates.
Just play
and
football.
Just go out there and just have fun. And then I came out and just.
I think you're skipping where Greg raped us all, but that's all right. We'll leave that out.
Yeah.
That's what we needed.
All right, last question. How do you reckon we'll go this year?
This year, I mean, it's hard to say, but I'm hoping we get a shot. It's looking like we might get some sort of shot to play, and I'm going to take it as it comes. And you know, if I get a chance to go play on that field, I'm going to leave everything I've got on the field. My last year at Colts, I think we need to do some recruiting. I think
because a lot of the boys are going up to opens now.
Yeah, opens, or they're just like Ryan's probably going to go get surgery, or like Ryan, Crouchy, Toby, Cameron, Mitch. They're just all aging out now, and you know, so we've still got a core, but. Jake would know you need a team. You don't need a few star players, and we need to really get into recruiting to get boys back in so that we can because we've got the pieces that we can have another shot at winning a final, but we have to really commit to trying to get these people.
It's going to be hard too because like especially in defense, like Cammy took a lot of pressure off my back.
No, exactly.
Like
if you were playing bad, Cammy would pick it up.
If you think about it, like. I took like one half of the field, he took the other half.
Yep.
And I was always happy putting that pressure. So I knew I could do that every time. But if I get moved to like a safety this year...
Where you got the whole field,
yeah, that's going to be a whole new pressure.
Exactly. And so I think getting pieces just to make the team better so that there's not as much pressure on our players. But I think, look, I won't call anything. Our goal is to get back to the final and win it. But, you know, we've got to take it one step at a time. We're just focusing on having a good preseason if we do get a shot at that, winning game 1, winning game 2. You know, just putting it together so that we can get into a spot where we can win the grand final, because it's my last year. You know, I want to get one before I move up to men's. So that's the end goal, but, you know, we can't dream too big too quick. So we've just got to take it one step at a time and do our best. That's all we can do.
Yeah. What are your personal goals? Any representative or?
Nah, nothing for me this year. My goal is pretty much just based on making that grand final and winning it. You know, like all the boys are now gone except for Jakey, really. So it's just our goal. Like, all right, we're gonna commit personally to this, and we're gonna put as much pressure on ourselves as we can to get back there and to win it. So my goal personally is just to win. That's all I want to do. You know, I'm not there to do politics or anything like that anymore. I don't want to make reps. I don't want to get in with anyone good to go to America. I don't want to do any of that. I'm just there to win games for Nepean. That's all I want to do, and that's all I'm focused on.
Sweet. So besides gridiron, what do you do? Work, study?
So I do outdoor broadcasting at Fox, sort of like NEP. I don't do a lot of that. Obviously, with all this corona on, there's not a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, it's all been cancelled. So that's what I do. Other than that, I go to uni, you know, starting to be a teacher. So
what subjects?
I'm primary school, so I got to do the lot. Hopefully, it's just colouring in. I might be all right at that. But yeah, that's all I do. Uni, it's work, and then footy. But like, yeah, I'm so locked in on footy this year because at the end of the grand final, I was just, You know, like on my screensaver for the last couple of months has been when UTS won that. Like, it's just a photo of them when they won the championship because I just want to remember how I felt when I lost that.
Shit.
So,
That's
yeah, check it out. Yeah, check it. Look at that.
Oh,
Told you, it's been there.
fires you up every day, eh?
Every time I look at my phone, I'm reminded of how I felt when I lost that
When you
final.
got injured, when old mate, not going to mention any names.
Oh,
but,
we all know who it is.
My best bud, he made that. Oh, just that.
That celebrate. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it sort of burns a fire in me, but it's like controlled because I'm like, it annoys me so much, but it sort of just puts that drive on me. And I've had that screen, so I can't escape how I felt, so it just makes me want to win more. Like, that's just what I want.
It drives me, bro. Gridiron's in the back of my head. Like, we're in
It's all-
league season right now. But, like, it's still in the back of my head. I'm like, I can't wait to actually go back to gridiron.
Yeah, I just, because I feel like we deserved to win it last year. I think the effort that we did put in as a team, you know, we were coming up against a really strong team in UTS that had a lot of rep players.
Yeah,
And
no well drilled.
they were a well-drilled team. They were a really good team, and I thought we had a chance, and I thought we were there. And so I just want to remember how I felt so I don't feel that way again this year. And, you know, it's just sort of there as a reminder, like, man, come on, that's how you felt. You don't want to feel that again. So
Yeah, like, they've been building their team for years.
yeah, they've been a competitive team for a long time, and then, you know, after state there was a lot of players that went and played there, and they had a really good team. A lot of my mates play there. They're good guys, and they had a good. We all sort of knew from day dot going into the season that they were the team to beat. Like, just start of the season, my dad was saying, look, they're the team to beat. There's good teams in this league, but they're the team to beat. That's our goal. We want to beat these guys, and you know, it sort of came down to like the UTS, us, Seahawks, and probably Rebels to an extent. But when we got there, you know, we had that win against the Seahawks where we were down 22-8 or something at halftime, and then we came back to win 36-30. And then in the
Then we had the week off.
then we had the week off, the bye going into the semis, and we pumped them. I think like 30-6 or something like that. And then so we were just so hyped. Like, that's what we can do when we have that sort of that drive, and then going into the final, I think we're all well prepared. I think a lot of us got in our heads a bit too much about it. We were too like focused. We didn't go into it with that mentality that we're all mates still. But, you know, this year...
Yeah, we sort of brought the mates together, like, towards, like, the end of the game, when it started to get, like, we started to lose it a little bit. I was just looking to the sideline, and just Mitchie, like, Mitch was just talking shit, and then I'm just talking shit when he's dropping it. And, like, it's just...
we sort of found our way a bit.
I actually enjoyed the last quarter of, like, the grand final the most.
Yeah, and I thought...
Because, like even though we did lose, it was great just to be there, like, with all the mates. And like just the whole.
And it capped off a really good season that was, you know, a lot more than football. And, you know, I thought I'd be really upset at the end of the game, but we got that touchdown, and I remember him blowing the whistle, and I could just hear him, you know, going off on their sideline, which they deserved to do. It was a grand final. And then I just walked off the field and I was smiling. I felt happy. Like, I was...
And when we went back to yours to rewatch it, like, we watched all our mistakes and we just like laughed.
Yeah, we were just laughing. Like, my dad played it again on the TV, and we're all just laughing. Oh, look how shit Cammy is. You should have called it. Nice run, Bignall, you dickhead. And it was just it was just fun, and we sort of got back to that. But yeah, for sure this year, goal is just to go out there, win games, and just leave nothing. Leave nothing.
Yeah. How's the ankle?
It's better. It's a lot better now, but it's a bit, you know, it gets a bit tender every now and
You
then.
need to strap that up very tight.
I know it's gonna be very. I'm not leaving it up to chance on that, but yeah, it was pretty rough after the game. I remember the boys saw it. It was disgusting. It was fat. It was swollen. And when the painkillers wore off when I got home, it was just I was limping. I had to get carried to the bathroom. It was terrible. I was like, how the hell did I run on that all game? But yeah, it's
Did
like.
you score a touchdown with it too?
No, I got called back.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the one you just got disallowed on.
Was that the flip one?
Which one?
When you did a flip, like you got the touchdown, did you?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't.
That was the corner one, was it?
No, it was the one on the corner where I like went one way and then came back the other, and I was like running like a fucking animal that had been shot running from poachers.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a good
mate.
chat.
Thanks for having me. A lot of fun. Keen to do it again sometime.
Yeah, hope you guys win a premiership next year.
I hope so, man. I'm keen. I'm ready to do it, and thanks for having me.
I thought about playing, but might have to practice a bit.
Yeah, you learn a bit, did ya?
Yeah, we'll come out today and go to the fields practice.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
See you,
but
mate.
yeah, cheers for coming on, mate.
Anytime, mate. Thanks guys.
Bye.
Yeah, nice. That one fucking ages there.
Is that good or?